Now we have Dr. Dinah Ramey Berry, scholar of the enslaved and Black women's history, joining us now with more on the history of Juneteenth. Dr. Berry, thank you for being with us this morning. Let's talk about what Juneteenth represents, not only for the Black community, but its overall significance in America's history as well.
Well, Juneteenth really is a holiday that recognizes freedom. It recognizes the freedom of African Americans in the aftermath of slavery. And I think one of the things that we're trying to emphasize now as it's become a federal holiday in 2021 is that this was a holiday that celebrated the freedom of African Americans and the independence and the opportunities for African Americans to participate in citizenship in the aftermath of slavery.
So you just mentioned that this becomes this holiday in 2021 when President Biden signed this declaration and therefore a federal holiday. But as we talked about, there's still kind of some disparities across the country in terms of how it's recognized. That came a year after George Floyd died from police brutality. At that time, Black Lives Matter has sparked a movement that many historians say, I mean, we really haven't seen similar scale since the civil rights era. How do you think those events help to reignite these calls for change? And then also put in the context of all of that going on, the fact that finally Juneteenth becomes this federal holiday.
Absolutely. Juneteenth, there were people that were fighting for this to become a holiday all the way back to the 1970s. And we know this. It became a holiday, a state holiday in Texas in 1980. But African Americans and those that were formerly enslaved fought and celebrated Juneteenth as early as 1866. But I do think you're right. George Floyd was a significant turning point. The death of George Floyd, to see that an African American could be choked to death in broad daylight by an officer, was something that really changed the way people thought about African American freedom. And they saw for themselves that African Americans are still struggling to define themselves as human beings and also to be considered citizens of the United States.
You wrote an article in The Atlantic called The Truth About Freedom, and in it you discussed the history of Black self-liberation, those who were enslaved, escaping their bondage and claiming their own freedom by fleeing, suing, or other means. Why is self-liberation an important part of our Juneteenth commemoration, and how does it draw parallels to the fight for equality that the Black community is still facing today?
I think the idea of self-liberation that happened prior to 1863's Emancipation Proclamation, prior to the end of the Civil War, prior to Juneteenth, and prior to the 13th Amendment becoming ratified on December 6th of 1865, is very important because it shows that African Americans found ways to become free, to sue for their freedom, to purchase their freedom, to literally escape and self-liberate themselves by going to free territories, is an important aspect of us understanding American history and the quest for the inherent role that freedom plays in all of our lives. We also find that African Americans are still finding ways, just like the recent Supreme Court decision in Alabama about redistricting and voting rights, right? We know that like voting is a major way that African Americans and any citizen in this country expresses their freedom and their participation in our government. And those are the same kinds of things that we're fighting for today.
Dr. Berry, while you're talking about self-liberation and people who had the strength and the courage to do this even before 1863 or 1865, remind us, just while we have you as a historian, as a scholar, on those years, or the reason that this is the particular date that is Juneteenth, that is this celebration of freedom, it was because for years there were people in the United States who did not know that this was true for them. Walk us through kind of just those 2 years and what this day actually was, what happened on Juneteenth.
Many enslaved people in Texas said that they didn't know they had been free until they heard somebody say, quote, make a proclamation. They heard General Order Number 3 that was brought to their plantation communities. They heard from their uncles, from their cousins, from other Union officers that came to tell them that slavery was over. June 19th marked that day for those that were enslaved in Texas. It wasn't ratified, as I mentioned, the 13th Amendment wasn't ratified until December, but to find out that you're free, some enslaved people literally walked off and left their plantation communities. Others went to find new houses. Others solidified their marriages. Some of them went to get an education. But the idea that freedom had come in their lifetime was something that they had thought about and fought for every single day that they were living before that.
So important to learn that history. Dr. Dinah Ramey Berry, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. All right, family, what's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How we doing tonight? This is not going to be a long live stream. I know I say that sometimes I end up being longer, but honestly, it will not be because I know it's late. What's up if you rocking with me tonight? If you rocking with me, give me a thumbs up in the chat. I know we got some people in here. We got people that are watching, and we got people that ain't going to work tomorrow, people that's want a 5-day vacation. Come on. My office, they celebrated Juneteenth on that Friday. And I noticed there are some other people who have had some people saying that their Juneteenth is being celebrated, the holiday is being recognized that Friday, so they can have their Friday off, not that Monday, which basically wouldn't be technically is not a you could say it's a 3-day weekend, but technically not, because Friday really, especially our offices, usually it's a cool, relaxed day, but it's different strokes for different folks. I'm just wondering, has that happened to anybody? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. We have a poll going on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I was asking, have you ever celebrated Juneteenth? And if so, do you think Juneteenth is compromised now? Now, this is a holiday I've never celebrated Juneteenth like talking about it. Juneteenth was something I never knew about. I had heard it on the radio when I was up in Baton Rouge, which is, a 4-hour drive from Houston, Texas, where I know that Juneteenth is something that's really celebrated in Texas, because that's where the whole thing started with Gordon Granger, the Major General who issued Field Order 3, which was to inform the slaves that they were free, and also inform them that Abraham Lincoln had freed the slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation issued on January 1st, 1863. Now, the question I had, is it compromised? Because when you read this article, this is from 2008. This was by Helena Andrews. And the title of it is Juneteenth Still Struggling for Legitimacy. Now, I want you to think about that when you see this. When you say something is legitimate, you mean it's legal, it's binding, it's truthful. You attest to its authenticity. That's what that means. And there were attempts, for instance, a Virginia state legislature who named Frank Hargrove, was 81 years old. He sponsored a resolution in January of that year recognizing Juneteenth after opposing legislation that offered an official apology for slavery. So he opposed legislation that offered an apology for slavery, but was willing to the next year issue a holiday celebrating Juneteenth. Now, he said in an interview that no one living was responsible for slavery and that our blacks should get over it. This is what this white boy said. Now, I don't believe Mr. Hargrove is currently among the living, and certainly now he is not alive, so his opinion doesn't mean a damn thing. Yeah, he died 2 years ago. There have been calls before in the legislature to recognize Juneteenth as this holiday. And there's a point that I'm bringing to all of this. Sheila Jackson Lee, because she was out in Texas, she, of course, was supporting this thing as well. And we know how it was celebrated. I just went off and explained it. But the thing was that the Emancipation Proclamation in and of itself that was issued by your Abraham Lincoln, while it only freed slaves in Confederate states. The problem is that that order, while it may, you can say it was effective and binding because it was signed by the commander in chief of the armed forces, the president, if you're in the middle of a war with the South, who is obviously opposed to you because your Republican Party is opposed to the expansion of slavery in the West and your ways being gone into the West, although in truthfulness, the abolition of slavery was not about the goodness of their hearts. It was really about what can help keep the Union together, which is what Abraham Lincoln's priority was. It was not for the black man or the black woman and the black child. But nevertheless, he issued this order, and the thing is that the South was not going to follow such an order because they were racist. If you're rebelling against the United States, I'm not going to follow any law that you have in the United States. Now, they say that the holiday and how it picked up, especially in the Black Power movement, was in the late 60s, 1960s. They helped resurrect the day as a new 4th of July, naming it Juneteenth, where they had barbecues, parades, and fireworks, and even readings of the Emancipation Proclamation. And on January 1st of 1980, it became an official holiday in the state of Texas. And you've had Democratic representatives like Sheila Jackson Lee, Representative Al Green, and Charles Gonzalez, and others who try to legitimize the Juneteenth. And even here, she echoed those sentiments. This is in 2008. It is a special year for speaking of freedom as we look towards the opportunity of the ascending sun of such history. Referring to Charles Gonzalez's statements, said Americans to use this holiday as an opportunity to recognize the tremendous progress our country has made in the civil rights arena, while also renewing their commitment to future efforts to ensure equality in America. So she makes it because, and Jackson Lee was saying this obviously because at that time, black people were going for Barack Obama. And let's just call it like it is. Practically everyone, most people, I wasn't fooled, wanted Barack Obama to become president. They were fixated. You couldn't say anything wrong about him. There was nothing negative you could say. If you did, you look out. Barack Obama was untouchable. And as it relates to this Juneteenth thing, when you read the article and they talk about legitimacy, black people have always wanted to feel love. I wanted to feel love and appreciation for stuff that I did. Human beings are like that in general. They want notoriety. They want popularity. Those are things that make you feel good, stuff that money can't buy. And we have to ask ourselves, while that is a good feeling, at what cost do we do that? Because when you look at Juneteenth now, I ask, has it been compromised? You know, I haven't, I've seen this, but like Juneteenth, remember we had the Juneteenth ice cream at Walmart? You had uh, Juneteenth clothing, you had, all of this stuff we talked about. I think I talked about this before, and they had it under the Great Value label. They could have actually did it with Blue Bell ice cream could have done one. Probably would have been better, but they did it under Great Value, which is the cheap one. Remember, this happened in 2022, last year. Now, several banks closed their holidays early. Uh, I get, and let's be real. Yes, I think Juneteenth is a holiday here in Louisiana. There is a time when we need to talk about things of this nature. Of course, children need to learn their history, need to know where they come from, why we celebrate holidays, why they're here for, and so forth. The importance of learning of our history so that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. But at what cost do we lose our identity? You know, the Juneteenth apparel. J.C. Penney's has Juneteenth stuff. I knew this was gonna happen once this came out. You got to remember when this was just our clothing. You had to look specifically when you saw uh, the historically black college and university sweaters and sweatshirts you saw in the 90s. The hoodies they had, the African American College Alliance hoodies. Look at this. Wait, hold on. Now look who's modeling this. Look who they got modeling it. Oh, this is on the website Printerval. So Printerval doesn't even have black models. And who's getting this? Who's getting paid the money to do this? Wow. So I look at all of this stuff. I mean, I never said, like I said, I was never a follower this uh, of this holiday. It's not something I ever celebrated. Um, and that's not an insult to anybody. I just never knew anything about it. You know, the only holidays down here that we knew of as it related to black people, in complete honesty, uh, was the Martin Luther King holiday, which I've been a part of that. I've also been in festivities dealing with that. And the other holidays that I remember, well, it's not a holiday, was Essence Fest. Now, that's really just Essence Fest obviously is just a way for rich black folks to go spend to make money while poor black folks spend money on it. And I'm not against it. I mean, look, it's a way to make business. And no, it's not a holiday, but it's when you have different people come together and do stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know if y'all have seen this too. So as I'm talking about Juneteenth, and I was just sharing this on Twitter, they have all of these videos playing and so forth. And I see a clip of Russell Simmons arguing with his kids. Y'all seen that shit? Russell Simmons and his kids are going off, and his ex-wife Kamorley, they're going off with each other. But Yeah, so we have to be careful what we wish for now. We have the holiday. The holiday is national. But now the next thing, when we want to ask for something, there are people who are going to be pissed off, and they already pissed. And I'm not worried about it. There are already people that are pissed off. We got this thing that they have this holiday Juneteenth, and there are people that will say, "Well, you got this. What more do you need? This is your reparations here." They use that as an excuse, and we have to have a answer to them that no, this is not reparations. This is a placebo that you have given us. I'm wholeheartedly in favor. Yeah, having a holiday recognition is fine, but that does nothing for us physically and spirit. That does nothing for us physically, and certainly for not financially for our race to move forward. And it's important that we have the financial means to move things forward, to do things, because without money, you're nothing. And that's just the reality of it. Money is what moves this world. Money is what makes the world go round. It isn't justice. It isn't peace. It isn't love. It's money. That's the real reality of it. If you don't have money, you can't go anywhere. I don't know if y'all can hear, man, but the thunder and lightning is bad right now. I wasn't going to be long. I said this was not going to be a long live stream. Uh, I know that we have a lot of people who are shocked I came on here Mondays, usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. I'm still struggling from this cold, man. I've been congested for the last week and a half. It ain't even been funny, man, because I went to California on a 3-hour flight. That's not good. To and from back. I came back last Thursday and I was still congested. The air pressure in the cabin doesn't help. It doesn't help also. It was cool in California. Now it was 90 degrees in Louisiana. It's been blistering hot. We've had a great, I just want to tell y'all, we had a great time at the Comedy Chateau out there in Los Angeles. I have pictures I'm going to upload. My man Brandon Haynes, he did his thing. We had fun doing that, man. So that was great. So yeah, I didn't want to come on too long. I needed to talk about this. But I just wanted to know and get your curiosity whether you thought it was compromised. And so far, we got 2 votes in, and only it's split. One says yes, the other says no. Yeah, a lot of people didn't celebrate Juneteenth. We didn't know nothing about it, and I think it's been, it's a shame about. Listen to shame that some of us don't know things. Judge Joe Brown. I've spoke with him. He does not celebrate the Juneteenth holiday. He's not a fan of it. It's the most sissified, old punked out thing we've ever had, where these black people didn't even know that they were damn free. That's a damn shame. I don't like it, damn it. They're even mixing up. So the Department of Education uh, don't even have the official flag. So a lot of people, what you saw in my thumbnail is not the colors of the official flag. This is the official Juneteenth flag. Sister Nicole has the red, white, and blue. That symbolizes Juneteenth. Now, you know, she's from Texas. So that's the Juneteenth colors. And she was pointing out that the Department of Education, they had this up on Twitter. So that is not the correct colors. Oh, Lord.
Took a civil war to free. Happy Juneteenth. Remember, Juneteenth is under party lines. You had the Union Army under the Republican Party. You had the Democratic Party under Confederacy. It took a civil war to free slaves from the Democrat Confederacy. The Democrats would have won a war, we'll still be in chains. And the thing about it is,
Vote Republican.
Lincoln and the Union freed the slaves under party lines. It's always going to be party lines, Republicans and Democrats. You make that
Now,
choice.
he's wearing a, I don't know this gentleman. His Twitter handle is Dr. Interracial. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. And he's wearing a Rush
Happy
Limbaugh
Juneteenth.
shirt. All right, this is all I need to know. Married for 50 and still haven't met any white supremacists. You niggas in.
Bye.
That just says it under her breath.
Hey,
Hi, everybody. We're at the Mega Mall, and we still haven't met any white supremacists. What do you think?
and it's like 99% of white people here.
And we haven't met any white supremacists yet. Bye.
See, these are the people.
Hey,
Here's the thing. Those are the guys. Those are lost causes right there. Somebody that says that. I'm not saying that every white person is evil. I believe that when black people, you want black people to jump on the Republican Party train, which, I mean, look, I'm done with the Democrats personally, but you don't want, at the same time, you are just like with Roland Martin, where you want black people to vote strictly for the Republicans, but yet they not offer you anything. Nobody has put anything together that they said that they are willing to do for the black community. They had stuff that said they would entertain us, and yes, but they treated, essentially, the Republicans treated as, I don't need the black vote. That's the issue. That's a disgrace. His name is Captain Interracial, Mr. Interracial. That's enough for me. But anyway, guys, I said it wasn't going to be a long one. I want to keep it at 30 minutes. But I wanted to just state, I wanted to talk about that. What did y'all think? And our Black Music Month, as we celebrate Black Music Month, ladies and gentlemen, before I get out of here, I'm going to put the person who we're celebrating tonight, and I'm going to put him in YouTube as well. I had his two songwriting partners on. I'm going to put him on tonight, Mr. Brooke Benton. Brooke Benton is your Black Music Month icon for the night. Mr. Benton was a singer-songwriter, record producer. He sang classic songs such as "It's Just a Matter of Time," which he co-wrote, which is a big country western song. He's also written hits like "Endlessly." He wrote for Nat King Cole as well, "A Lover's Question," and "Looking Back." He's also had songs. He was very popular in the late 50s and 60s. He wrote This Time of Year, a great Christmas song. And he also had the hit A Rainy Night in Georgia, which was big in 1970. Mr. Benton died on April 9, 1988, at the age of 56 after a bout with pneumonia as he was suffering from spinal meningitis. He was survived by his wife, Mary, and their 6 children, Brooke Jr., Vanessa, Roy, Israel, Gerald, and Benjamin from Queens, New York. So shout out to Mr. Benton and his work. Yeah, great songwriter. He and Clyde Otis and Belford Hendricks, who I saluted Mr. Otis a few weeks ago. By the way, none of these men are in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, which I think is a shame. You know, Clyde Otis has written over 800 songs. He wrote or co-wrote, and he certainly should be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame along with Mr. Benton, Belford Hendricks, at least as trailblazers and pioneers. So we're gonna try and change that this year. All right, y'all. I'll be back with another one. Be one, be blessed, and be safe. I'm glad y'all are here with us. I'll be back soon. Hopefully, I get this cold out of me. All right. That's why I'm not on camera. So you guys be safe and be blessed. I love y'all. I'll holla. Peace.